It's Matchday 13, Picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code PLGP to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and the NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford. I'm a Champions League expert from Newcastle upon Tyne. Today is Thursday, November the 28th. We are here to run the rule over the Champions League games that finished last night and get stuck right into Matchday 13, did I say? In the Premier League, which goes Friday right the way through. Joining me is Mr. Barry Penaluna. Barry, what's happening?
I'm all right. I'm assuming this is a 45-minute Champions League recap, is it? And just 10 minutes of Premier League look ahead, yeah?
I was going to do a standalone recap episode, really. Like all our yesterdays, like talking heads sort of thing. Where celebrities will come on and say where they were when they heard it and stuff like that. I'll be honest, it's getting a bit boring, though, isn't it? Me winning all the time. So, happy Thanksgiving, Barry. I know we don't say that to each other, but it's Thanksgiving, apparently, whatever that is. So, to all our American listeners, happy Thanksgiving. You celebrating Thanksgiving, Barry?
I am, yeah. I've got a glass of fizz on the go.
No, very nice.
Just for Thanksgiving. And I think we've both got a bit of turkey on the go, haven't we, Malcolm?
Well, we decided earlier on to have a bit of a turkey off, didn't we?
Yeah.
Because we like to. Have you got yours there? Now, you see, the problem is, I've got mine here, but it's a right mess in terms of, mine's all saucy and that. So I've put it on a tray, on a tea towel, on a plate. But if I move it and make one wrong move, there's going to be sauce and turkey everywhere, up the curtains, up the laptop. But I will display it. We're going to, so the turkey off, Baz. Do you want to talk us through what you've done with your turkey? The problem with the turkey off is no one else can taste the turkey except me or you. So we can't really vote apart from for each other's turkey, for our own turkeys. But if you want to talk us through the process, maybe people might have an idea.
I mean, very simple. I just invested in a turkey leg. That's all I've got. So I've portioned it into the big thigh, which I'm going to use tomorrow. And all I've done today is just the drumstick, and very simple. A little bit of butter, which I've just dripped all over my keyboard. Bit of butter, melted in a pan with a little bit of salt, pepper, smoked paprika, and a little bit of garlic granules, and just basted it and then roasted it in the oven. Keep basting it every now and then. So yeah, nice crispy skin, nice little bit of paprika and garlic on the outside. And then tomorrow I've got the thigh. I'm going to debone the thigh, stuff it with some sausage meat, some sort of fruit, maybe a clementine or something, bit of chestnuts. Roll it up into a little roulade, like a big turkey Swiss roll. Will be the plan for that. If you've never tried it, I do it every Christmas with a turkey thigh. Because what else do you do with the turkey legs? But I debone it, flatten it out, stuff it, roll it. Absolute heaven. So that's the plan tomorrow for that.
Clementine isn't just a Tory orange. I don't know what it is. It's a Tory Satsuma, Baz. That's what that is. So I'll show you mine. Oh, this might be right. I might regret this. Yeah. Let's have a look. Here it is. Oh, can you see that, Baz? So, I mean, I've done similar. I soaked mine all afternoon, Baz, in like a litre of apple juice, orange juice, and cranberry. Soaked it for a couple of hours, and then roasted it. Kept basting it with those juices until it was cooked. And then I've taken all the juices out the roasting tin, and I've sort of reduced them down with some honey soy sauce, and some chili. So I don't think it's a very traditional turkey, Baz. But it's all the things you want. It's hot, it's sweet, it's sticky, it's salty. It ticks all the boxes. Like, as it happens, when you were talking about yours, Bob's just come through, stood by it and looked at me and went, "Can I have that?" So I've already got one vulture hovering above the turkey leg just on sight alone. So yeah, if anyone's got a preference for the turkey, you'll get your own turkey recipes. So I'm watching the NFL because it's Thanksgiving and I've got my turkey, and I'm treat myself to a beer as well, Baz. Who knows? Have a beer in the bath later on. I'll tell you, Paul Merson's been on the NFL tonight. You haven't watched any, are you? They've got Paul Merson in the studio on Sky. Apparently he's a big fan. He's been absolutely brilliant. Like, he's been excellent crack, but very, very, very knowledgeable. It's like he hasn't missed a beat. If you just turned it on and you didn't know, you'd think he was just an NFL analyst. Like, and for Paul, sort of a bit of a fun figure, like, isn't he? He's been brilliant. So I need a few more points in this Detroit-Chicago game. Jahmyr Gibbs' rushing and receiving yards is hit, but I need to get over 47, so I need someone to score a few quick points. Mentioned at the top, Baz, I am indeed a Champions League expert. I did really well this week. 3 winners and a push. I took Villa over half. Juventus plus half a goal. So 4 if you took the Acker. I'm claiming 4 winners. But
so what was your push?
It was draw no bet, Juventus. But I said if you want to back Juventus plus a half, then stick that in. It was like minus 160 or something. But I'm happy with 3 in a push. Real Madrid got beat roundly off Liverpool, who were very good. Inter Milan did indeed score 3 goals. And Feyenoord scored a goal. And then went up the ladder a little bit. We got up the little step ladder, Baz, with the second goal at 9-2. Should have taken the third one for the jackpot. But that was money in the bank. So really happy with that. That's 3 kind of decent shows in a row after back-to-back winning Premier League weeks, Baz. I don't think you went quite as well, Baz, but all that means is it's your turn this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, very average for me. I mean, I only made 3 picks. I had a push on the first night, was the buy-in handicap. They won by 1, so we got a push there. I needed another goal from Celtic, took them to score 2 or more. And I took the over 3.5 in the Real Madrid-Liverpool game. And obviously didn't get close. So yeah, disappointing from me. But, I cheered you all that on, so that was good.
Yeah.
I actually didn't get to watch any of last night. I watched some of the Man City game. Last night, I went to watch Wicked at the cinema. What do you think about that? You wouldn't.
I don't think very much of that, Barry.
I didn't think you would. Family night at the cinema. 2 hours and 40 minutes, Malcolm.
Yeah.
And you only get to see half the story. That was part 1.
Did you mean at the pictures or the theatre?
The pictures. I've seen it at the theatre as well before, to be honest. So yeah, we were at the cinema last night. So 2 hours 40 minutes, part 1. That is. Do you know how long you've got to wait till part 2?
Nope.
12 months. I don't even like waiting 1 week for another episode of my favourite series. I'll wait till it's all finished and binge watch it. So I'm not happy sitting 2.5 hours and then realising you've got to wait a year for the next half of it. Absolutely ridiculous, that. Not having it.
Yeah, fair enough, Baz. There's something in the Premier League slate of games this week, Barry, that hasn't happened for 287 match weeks, 7 years and 7 months since this thing happened that we're going to have to talk about tonight. Do you want to hazard a guess what's going on?
No, because I haven't got a clue.
I'll leave you to think about it.
This is in the Premier League fixtures.
Our community can have a think about it. Let's name
Premier League you're talking about.
Sorry?
Just in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Premier League hasn't happened for a long time.
Lee's ruined it already, the twat. Andy was first. By the way, the time's changed at very short notice because Barry's a right diva again. Just let's put that out there. It's been scheduled for 10 o'clock for 2.5 days till Barry messaged 20 minutes ago and said, "Do you want to do it now?" So Andy, well done everyone who made it. Got the email, obviously. Andy, Harry, Chelsea, how we doing? Callum, Ian lights out in Slick Rick's having a scotch, tidy. Ian wants the skin of the turkey. And I think that's everyone for the time being. Oh, no, James is here as well. James Mafia. How you doing? Lee has indeed got the answer. Manchester City are underdogs, Barry, on Sunday. For the first time in 287 games, 7 years and 7 months, 2017, they were underdogs in a game against Chelsea. What do you think of
that? I'll tell you when we'll get the 10th game on the slate, Malcolm. Is what I think. But yeah, I wouldn't have thought it was that long ago. But I suppose it makes sense.
I thought it was a dodgy start. I told Tears the other day, and he thought it was a dodgy start as well. And I have checked and triple checked, and indeed, it is an accurate start. So there you go. Do you want to tell the people what you're thankful for on this Thanksgiving Day before we carry on, Barry?
A big turkey leg.
He's thankful for a big turkey leg. Fair enough. I'm thankful. I've written it down, Barry. I'm thankful that Jurgen Klopp's fucked off. I'm thankful for our lovely listeners. But mostly, Barry, I'm thankful for you. That's what I'm thankful for. Right. We're going to get stuck in. You're not meant to laugh. You're meant to shed a tear. We get stuck into this Premier League slate after I've told you first about Thanksgiving promo sale on the merch store. 25% off with the promo code Black Friday. So 25% off everything, including one of these tremendous MLB Gambling Podcast hoodies, or you can get a Premier League Gambling Podcast trinket as well. 25% off with the code Black Friday. Underdog is Feast Week here as well, from the 27th of November through to the 30th. During Feast Week, Underdog are featuring profit boosts, discount tokens, gimme picks, and loads more. Underdog's got one of the biggest menus for all sports: NFL, college football, college basketball. You can use specials and boosts on all flexed entries. I think I'm going to use my play on under receiving yards for Dontavian Wicks for the Packers later on. Gone under 39.5 in 5 of his last 6 games. So I'll be going lower on the Dontavian picks receiving yards. Use our code PLGP to sign up. Deposit offer, you'll get a $1,000 bonus cash and a special pick. Underdogfantasy.com, promo code PLGP. Right, Baz. Any strong thoughts on this card? Were you feeling it? Are you confident? Goes Friday through to Sunday, and then we get a full slate again on Tuesday. So this is it, Baz.
That was the first thing that stood out
this week. We can really, really put our foot on the gas here. We can get the heavy toe out.
First thing that stood out was the Tuesday night restart for the Premier League. So, it's going to be thick and fast. Some tough games. A couple of things I liked. Obviously, the Wolves game, because I'm a bit of a Wolves expert now, in it. I think 2 weeks in a row I've got Wolves right. So, being the Wolves expert on this show, I'm looking forward to that one. I have my my favourite pick in that one. But yeah, lots of tricky ones. A couple where I've just had to sort of go my hunch, really. But middling kind of slate, this one.
Middling kind of slate. Right, okay. We start on Friday night, where we have a South Coast derby at 8 o'clock, kick-off 3 p.m. Eastern time, between Brighton and Hove Albion will take on Southampton. Brighton are 2-5, minus 250. The draw is 4-1. Southampton are 6-1. Drifted a little bit, actually. Half a point now. They're 13-2, plus 650. Back-to-back wins for Brighton. I've got them up to 5th in the league. Took them not last week at a really nice 2-1 away at Bournemouth. Was happy with that. Both teams to scores hit in 7 of their last 8 games. Over 2.5 goals has hit in 7 of their last 8 games. They've been decent at home, 1-3, drawn 3, unbeaten. The slight concern, if you wanted to pile into Brighton, is the 2 home games against the bottom 4, where they had a 2-2 draw with Wolves and a 0-0 draw with Ipswich. So 2 similar comps. They actually failed to win both of those. So 2-5 isn't hugely appealing. Southampton are still bottom on 4 points. 1-1, drawn 1, and lost 10. No Premier League team has survived having accumulated that amount of points after this amount of games. They competed quite well last week, actually, against Liverpool. Did get a couple of goals, but they've lost. That was at home, and they've lost 6 out of 6 away from home. So I don't want to factor them in. I don't fancy them as a dog or anything like that. The key for me is, can they contribute to the goals, Baz? And I think they can. They scored in 6 of the last 8. They scored 2 against Liverpool. So I think they can get 1 here. The bet is going to be both teams to score over 2.5 bars. Nice and early. 9 to 10, -111. Brighton are going to win 3-1, Baz.
Your notes are literally almost a carbon copy of mine. So I've got down to a tricky one to start with. Not because I don't have a view on who should win, but just finding some value. Brighton are unbeaten at home. 3 wins, 3 draws. The overs has hit 5 out of 6 at home, but you're not getting any kind of value on that at all. I think it's 4 to 7 for the over 2.5. And then you look at handicaps for Brighton if you fancy them to win. Do you know how many times they've covered the handicap at home this season?
None.
None is the correct answer. In fact, they've only won. Yeah, none at home, and they've only won by 2 goals once all season. That was day 1 against Everton. So didn't fancy the handicaps at all. Now, obviously, you've mentioned Southampton's away form is terrible. 6 defeats from 6, and they've lost by 2 goals in 4 of those. So Brighton should win it. Brighton might win it by a couple, but there isn't a lot of form for them doing that at home. So the handicap didn't appeal. And I think possibly because of that performance from Southampton last week against Liverpool, it just plays in your mind a little bit of recency bias where you saw them be a little bit more competitive against a reasonably good, well, I say reasonably good side is probably the wrong way to put it, given where Liverpool are in the league. So my next thing was, can Southampton get a goal? Is my next question. And I think they can. Brighton have conceded in 5 of the 6 home games. Both teams to scores hits in 4 straight home games for Brighton as well. I've got down here, Brighton are probably going to win this 2-1 or 3-1, but I'll take the both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. Hey. 10 to 11. So,
right,
landed on the same score, same pick and everything. So 3-1, get on it.
Well, there you go. What could possibly go wrong, Barry? Manchester United have taken a 2nd-minute lead against Bodo Glimt. Alejandro Garnacho. Sorry?
They've done that last week. Didn't help them much.
Oh, yeah. They proceeded to be shite for the next 88 minutes. So good luck with that. Right, okay, Baz. Next game up on the card is Brentford taking on Leicester City. Brentford are 11 to 17, -153. The draw 16 to 5, +320. Leicester 15 to 4, +375. Barry.
Yeah, so I've handicapped this one mainly based on that Brentford home form line, which we've talked about plenty now. Obviously, the risk is being a change at Leicester. Ruud van Nistelrooy, that came a bit out of nowhere, didn't it? I don't think Van Nistelrooy was on anyone's radar. When Cooper got sacked, everyone was talking about Potter, Carsley, David Moyes was mentioned, and then out of the blue, Ruud van Nistelrooy pops up. So, yeah, will they see an immediate return on that? Who knows? That's always a little bit of a risk. First game, new manager. But Brentford are still unbeaten at home. 5 wins as well. 5 wins from 6. But that home form, they've not faced anyone outside of the bottom half at home yet. And they've played all of the bottom 4 sides in those 6 games as well. So the home form skewed very much by the schedule. Now, that's not necessarily a cause for concern here because Leicester City are very much in the bottom half. They're 5th bottom. So should Brentford win this, they'll have beaten the bottom 5 all at home this season. Does suggest they might have a harder second half of the season, so definitely worth keeping an eye on that. I just thought goals was the easiest way in, though. 44 goals in Brentford games so far. There's only Wolves games have seen more goals than that. And Brentford themselves scored 22 goals. Again, there's only Liverpool, Chelsea and Spurs scored more goals this season than Brentford. So I think Brentford will get amongst the goals here. On the other side of it, Leicester don't often fail to score. They've only failed just once this season to score in a game. Over 2.5 is very short, but I think we can get to the 3.5. 4 of the last 5 Brentford home games have seen over 3.5 goals. So that's where I've gone. I've gone over 3.5 goals between Brentford and Leicester at 11 to 8, +1 37.
I've just had to go and eating some of that turkey leg bars, and I can't. It's too messy. It's delicious. It's absolutely delicious, but I've got it in my eyebrows and everywhere. So I'll have to leave that till we're finished. Is Van Nistelrooy there for the weekend then?
I'm not sure.
No,
I don't even know if it's a done deal yet, but I've just seen. Let's have a look.
Well, it's my mate Ben who was in charge. I noticed he didn't get sacked last week. Ben, who used to work at Newcastle, whose kid was in my football team. And they asked Ben to look after the first team until they got a new manager. So I was interested to see if Ben was going to be on the touchline at the weekend.
I mean, I don't even think Van Nistelrooy's officially announced yet, is he? So you're probably right. He probably won't be on the touchline for Saturday, but who knows?
Didn't myself hiccups, Baz, with that. So Brentford are our favourite split, aren't they, for the home and away? We pretty much use it every week. They're back at home here, where they've won 5 and drawn 1. They've scored 12 goals in their last 3 home games, also conceded 8. So all that points to the pick you gave out, Baz. Leicester 16th on 10 points, no win in 4. I don't think we'll see a new manager bounce, because I'm not sure if the new manager is going to be there. But they've competed well on the road, Leicester. They've lost 3 of 6 just. They played okay against Man United. They got a draw at Ipswich. They won at Southampton. They led at Arsenal until relatively late in that game. I don't think Brentford can keep winning at home forever. I'm not really into them. I think they'd be in a little bit of a false position. I'm going to give Leicester a chance here. I don't mind them as underdogs, Baz, at 15-4, Leicester. But I'm going to take Leicester on the double chance. So draw or Leicester, 6-5 plus 120 will be my play in that one.
We'll have the 2-2.
Next. Sorry, what?
We'll have the 2-2 there then.
We'll take a 2-2, Baz. We'll absolutely take a 2-2. Next game on the card is bollocks. I forgot to count up the 3 o'clock games, Baz. Hang on. Brentford Leicester was the first one there, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 4 3 o'clock kickoffs. The second of which is Crystal Palace taking on Newcastle United. Crystal Palace are 19-10 plus 190. The draw is 13-5 plus 260, and Newcastle are 13-10 plus 130. And we spoke on Monday afternoon, didn't we? We did the show on Monday before I trotted off to watch Newcastle's inevitable 7-0 win against West Ham. And we were absolutely shite. It was one of the least fun times I've had at St James's Park in about the last 20 years. It was just horrible. The whole thing was painful. I hated every minute of it. Betty came with me. She hated every minute of it. I've been haunted by it ever since. And the problem was, Baz, we made the grave error of being confident. Like, at what point in your life, everything that's happened in your life tells you should be confident about what Newcastle are going to do. You should know better. And I remember this happening just at the start of Eddie Howe's second season. We'd stayed up. We'd been saved. We then started the season okay, got a few good results. And then we had a Saturday afternoon home game against Bournemouth. And everyone just expected us to win. There was no atmosphere. It was shit. And we got beat. And that's what Monday night was like. It was just the longer the game went on, the more it made my teeth itch. So I can't take Newcastle at all until I see something again. But even though 2 weeks ago, they were rock solid against Forest. They were the old Newcastle. Like, they were big and strong and aggressive and looked full of goals. Away at a good team. And then home against a dog shit team, we threw in an absolute clunker. Like, Palace played well against Villa last week. They got a good point. Villa missed a penalty at 1-1 in that game. And I think that did save them. They've still only got 1 in 12. So I don't want to bet Palace here at 19-10 plus 190. That's not very attractive. 5 of Palace's 6 home games have gone under 2.5 goals, Baz. Newcastle have failed to score in 3 of their last 6 games. Looks like a slow burner to me. Under 2.5 goals is even money, Baz. I like the price.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I mean, this is probably my least favourite game on the card, but it often is when we come to Newcastle, but particularly after that horrible performance on Monday. I agree with you, though. It's hard to back Palace here. they're not winning many games, and the injury list just piling up. And Nketiah's still out, Wharton's still out, Eze is likely to miss out. There's others on the list. They've got a lot of key players missing. So a short one here, purely a hunch. We talk about Spurs being unpredictable, but I think Newcastle very much come into that as well. We're capable of just throwing out that absolute stinker of a performance like we did the other day, and then come bouncing back and putting up something decent. So it's very much a hit and hope, but purely down to the Palace injuries. And looking back at the last away game, because the Forest game was a really, really good performance, and I think that's what made the West Ham home game really disappointing. We were good away from home against Forest. Palace are a similar kind of side, and I'm going to take Newcastle to win at 13-10 plus 130.
Okie doke, Barry, with the Homer play. We will move on after I've told you about mybookie.ag. We're brought to you by mybookie.ag. It's been running on SGPN for years. Check out the new and improved website, which is great on mobile. Props for every game in the live dealer casino. New early cash out options. Head to mybookie.ag with the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. That's mybookie.ag. And Rhythm, our proud partner, the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds. Build your own model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or have Rhythm build a model for you. You can track props in the Rhythm app, NFL picks, NFL props, college football, basketball, NBA. Rhythm's got it all. Claim a 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Next up, continue at 3 o'clock with Nottingham Forest taking on Ipswich. Forest are 7-10, minus 142. The draw 29-10 plus 290. Ipswich, there's been some money for Ipswich. They were 4-1. I'm now saying 15-4 plus 375 on Ipswich Town, Brett.
Yeah, I tell you what, Ipswich, not a bad price as an underdog, I don't think, yeah. Forest are coming in with back-to-back defeats. Obviously, Newcastle was the one they probably won't be happy with at home. Losing to Arsenal last week, probably more expected. I think they'll come into it obviously expecting to get back to winning ways because they're at home against a bottom half side. Just don't think it'll be straightforward. Ipswich are starting to chip away a little bit. Picked up 5 points in the last 3, so unbeaten in 3 games, 2 draws and a win. I don't mind the overs here at 10-11. I think because we've said over and over again about it's not very often we're seeing a price like this for overs in the Premier League these days. Everything's 4-6s and 4-7s for goals. Now, the Forest games have been good for unders early in the season. 8 of their first 9 games this season in all competitions went under 2.5 goals. But they've just gone on a run of over 2.5 goals in 4 straight games now for Nottingham Forest. Ipswich are scoring regular enough. So, yeah, I like the overs. But then I look, you can get the same price for both teams to score. Now, I know Forest have been solid at the back, but Ipswich have only failed to score once in their last 8 league games. Ipswich looked all right last week against Man United. Really unlucky not to get more than the 1 goal. I think they'll get a goal here. I think both teams will get on a score sheet. So I'm taking the both teams to score at 10-11 between Forest and Ipswich.
Forest didn't really turn up at Arsenal last week. I don't know if they were just terrible or Arsenal were half decent, but Forest did phone it in a little bit after, and they had that defeat in Newcastle before that, so they slid down to 7th in the table. The home records are brilliant. 1-2, drawn 2, lost 2. They're too short at 4-6. Can't back them at 4-6. They failed to beat Bournemouth and Wolves at home, and they lost to Fulham. Over 2.5 goals, 4 in a row, Baz, as you pointed out. I thought Ipswich were good against Manchester United. They're now unbeaten in 3, and they've still only lost 5 of 12. They've had too many draws. But if you listen to the manager, he'll tell you that it wouldn't have taken much for a few of those draws to turn into victories for Ipswich. And I actually found looking at their stats quite counterintuitive because you perceive them as quite a free scoring team and also a little bit open at the back. but actually only 5 of the 12 games has gone over 2.5 goals. I think they've been a bit unlucky. I agree with their manager. And I fancy them. I'm going to back them here. I had them written down with 4-1, and I'd say I wish they were just half a point bigger. I wish they were 9-2. As it happens, they've now been nipped in a quarter of a point, although there's probably some 4-1 somewhere. But I'm going to take a punt on Ipswich. I've got a bit of a crush on Ipswich at the minute. Might come back to bite me in 2 or 3 weeks. They might be on the no bet list, but I think there's a win in them. I think there's a win in them at a decent price at some point, and I'm going to take them to win this at 4-1.
Nice, don't mind that at all.
Yeah, well, the first thing you said was you think they're live at a decent price. Next up, the final 3 o'clock is Wolverhampton Wanderers taking on Bournemouth. Wolves are drifted. Line movement report. Wolves were 7-4 and now out to 15-8 plus 187. The draw is 13-5 plus 260, and Bournemouth are 7-5 plus 140. Wolves. What I don't even know what that says. They got a really good 4-1 win at Fulham last week. Oh, I know what it says. 2 wins and 2 defeats in the 2 wins and 2 draws in the last 4 games for Wolves, including the spectacular 4-1 at Fulham last week, where Cunha was absolutely outstanding. They've scored 10 goals in the last 4 games, and Cunha absolutely moved the needle for them last week. He really is a top-class player. 2 defeats in a row for Bournemouth. Both similar comps to this. At Brentford, and it's home against Brighton. They've only won 1 of 6 away from home, and that was the fluke win at Everton. So I don't know how Bournemouth can be considered favourites here. I think that's an absolute madness. Seems a bit of a trap to me, but we've got 2 very similar teams, and the one in better form at home is a considerably bigger price. I just got to back Wolves again. Did it last week and they won. I'm doing it again this week. 15-8 plus 187. I'll take Wolves, Baz.
Yeah, exactly the same sort of a different pick, but the same thoughts. Really surprised at the prices here because Wolves were back-to-back wins, unbeaten in 4. You've got Bournemouth with back-to-back defeats, and yet you've got Wolves at home as underdogs. 15-8, I thought looked a great price. It just looks like the bookies have got this the wrong way around. Bournemouth haven't been great away from home. You just mentioned only 1 win all season away from home. They've lost 3 of the last 4 away games as well. Wolves have been full of goals. Wolves should be favourites for this. So I've wrote down I wouldn't talk anyone out of Wolves as a pick. I like them as a pick on their own, but I've went slightly safer because Bournemouth are capable of getting goals themselves. And it's the goals for Wolves, which is still a really good price, good plus money price. Wolves to score 2 or more is 6-5 plus 120. They've not failed to score in a game since day 1. Arsenal kept them out on day 1. Since then, they've scored in every single game. And they've scored at least 2 in 5 of their last 6 games. They're scoring 2 every week, just about. And Bournemouth have just conceded 5 in the last 2 games as well. So Wolves team total for me, Wolves to score 2 or more against Bournemouth at 6-5, I think looks a great bet.
That absolutely is the arse sniffer of the week, Baz. I didn't even look at the team total because I thought it'd be short. I thought it'd be about 4-7 or something. I think you've smashed it. Bordeaux Glimt have scored. Man United continue to be absolute pony and trap. Fantastic. Man United won. Bordeaux /Glimt won. Cheers, Lee, for pointing that out. Dara O'Shea is decent for shots from centre-back, evens for 1, and 9-2 for 2. I don't know who he plays for. So you pay for it? Ipswich.
I don't know. He wasn't there. Yeah.
Lee, however, man. Shout out to player we've heard of. Right, next up is Roma have equalised as well. Tottenham 1, Roma 1. Goals as they go in on the Premier League Gambling Podcast. Tea time on Saturday, 5:30 kickoff, 12:30 Eastern Time between West Ham United and Arsenal. West Ham are 6-1. They've drifted half a point from yesterday. The draw is 72 plus 350. Arsenal are 9-20. Minus 222, Bazza.
Yeah, give us a second. Scroll to my notes. Decent performance for West Ham on Monday. they got a lot of credit for getting a win over us. A lot of it did come at the fact we were absolute garbage as well, mind. Because there was large parts of the game where West Ham weren't doing tons. We just couldn't. We never looked like we were going to score once they got ahead. But deserved win. Interested to see how they followed up this week against the rejuvenated Arsenal side, you'd have to say. International break looks to have come at the right time for them. They were stuttering. They've come back flying with a 3-0 over Forest last week and then a 5-1 win over Sporting in midweek as well in the Champions League. I think the key, Odegaard coming back, is a massive boost for them.
Yeah.
He's made the big difference. And I can't say anything but an Arsenal win here. I come into it with that in mind, and then it's just where do you go for a bet. 6-0, they won this fixture last year, Malcolm. I'm not quite sure it'll be as much as that on this occasion, but I think they can cover the handicap. Chelsea and City, two sort of top-end teams, have both went to West Ham away and covered the handicap this season. I think Arsenal can do the same. I think Arsenal -1.5 on the handicap at 6-5.
I've got the exact same pick, Baz. I've got 5-4 plus 125, so you can have an extra 20th of a point with me if you want it. West Ham did get that win over Newcastle. It came out of nowhere. They got in front, and then they took advantage of absolutely everything. They went their way after that. They took advantage of the fact we were rubbish. And when they got 2-0 up, they managed the game really, really well after that. We never looked like scoring. I'll tell you what I didn't notice was Lucas Paquetá managed Bruno G unbelievably well. Baz, Barra's cheering something. Bodo Glimt have scored again. Man United 1, Bodo /Glimt 2. Obviously, Paquetá and Bruno Guimaraes international teammates, and it was like Paquetá knew his game and just wasn't falling for any of his shit. We've joked for weeks. Joe Dollar's a big exponent of the Bruno G, just running around, encouraging people to foul him. And Paquetá had none of it. And he also knew he was dead slow. The amount of times Paquetá nicked it off his toe just as Bruno was about to kick it in the second half was astonishing. They took advantage of all of that. Absolutely done a job on us, did West Ham. We're really good. But the home form is really, really patchy. And they were absolutely papped before that win. It did come out of nowhere. So quite hard to analyse. So I prefer to focus my handicap here on Arsenal. And they bounced back from that 4-game winning streak with a 3-0 win against Forest. And more noticeably, the 5-1 win at Sporting. I like that form. And Odegaard is absolutely crucial, Baz. So yeah, pretty much the same handicap as you. Leads me to Arsenal -1.5 at 5-4 plus 125. We move across to Sunday. 4 games on Sunday. 3 of them are 1:30 kickoffs. What all that's about. The first of which is Chelsea against Aston Villa. Chelsea are 7-10, -142. The draw 31-10 plus 310. Aston Villa 7-2 plus 350. Chelsea have been kind to me this season, certainly recently. I feel like I've got a good handle on them. Chelsea won tonight. They won 2-0 away in Heidenheim. I looked for any religious connotations regarding Heidenheim. Barry after Noah in the last game, but there weren't any. They don't like Catholics, was about as far as I got with that, so we'll leave that there. Chelsea, but tonight's result is irrelevant. They won 2-0 away. They're down to 10 men. Bloke I've never heard of got sent off. But it's a totally different team, so it's an irrelevance, that result tonight. They've had a difficult run of games. They played Newcastle, Man United, Arsenal and Liverpool and did okay in that run. And then got an easier task last week against Leicester and dominated. Leicester scored with the last kick, so it looks a bit closer on paper, 2-1. But Chelsea, from the moment the traps opened, were clearly the better team in that. They've picked up 1.88 points per game in the last 8. They've scored 1.88 goals per game in the last 8. They have only won 2 of 6 at home, if you want to temper it a little bit. But no league winning 4 for Villa. The weird thing with Villa is they concede in the league every week in the Prem, keep clean sheets in the Champions League, no problem. There appears to be no sort of marriage between those two things. Basically, Baz, I just want to take Chelsea. I think Chelsea are going to win. Now, you might tell me, is 7 to 10 too short for Chelsea to win, a -142? No, because I'm happy to cheat as well. I can take out the 1-0, Baz. So Chelsea to win in over 1 goal in the match is 9 to 10, -111. Chelsea win 1-0, then it's my own fault for being a knob. So yeah, Chelsea to win and over a goal, 9 to 10, -111.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one with Chelsea because it sort of feels like they're having a really good season. And obviously, you look at their 3rd place in the league, so technically they are having a really good season. But a lot of that is down to other teams being as inconsistent around them as they've been. Because Chelsea's form line itself isn't anything to write home about. They've got just 2 wins in the last 6 league games. And the 2 wins both came by a single goal. So I think in my head, it feels like Chelsea are doing a lot better. But I still think you've got to be a little bit careful with them. They're not exactly blowing everyone away or anything like that, despite being 3rd in the league.
Top front of games, though, Baz. That was kind of my...
I agree. I'm surprised when you look at it, for a team to be 3rd in the league after 12 games, to have just 2 wins in the last 7 is just a bit of a... 2 wins in the last 6, sorry. Just a bit of a surprise. And they're not keeping many clean sheets. I think it's 7 games in the league now without them keeping a clean sheet. So I don't think they're bankers by any stretch, but I have wrote down 8 to 11 at home is probably a fair price here, particularly because of Villa's current form. A few weeks ago, I would have thought it was a terrible price, but Villa now won a 7-game winless streak in all competitions. I think they should have won last night. That disallowed goal was harsh. The foul on the keeper from Rodgers for the Rodgers goal was harsh. But yeah, not in good form, Villa. Both teams to score has hit in 4 of the last 5 Villa games in the league. It's hit in 7 straight games for Chelsea, both teams to score. I think, like you, I think Chelsea might nick this, but I can see Villa getting on the score sheet. So I'm going to go for the both teams to score and tag on the over 2.5 goals. So it's the second one of the night for me. But yeah, both teams to score and over 2.5. I do think Chelsea will probably win it, but I think they'll probably have to score at least a couple to get there.
Fair enough. Next up is another 1:30 kickoff, 8:30 Eastern time between Manchester United and Everton. Manchester United are 1-2, -200. The draw 16-5 +320. Everton 21-4 +525. Barry.
Yeah, I think last week showed there's not going to be any honeymoon period for Ruben Amorim. And tonight's shown it as well. New manager coming in isn't going to change the fact that that squad isn't very good. It isn't equipped for a top 4 push. I mean, I've seen Gary Neville last week saying Man United would finish top 4. Now they've got Ruben Amorim. I just don't know how you can get to that conclusion. Like, they're just short of goals. Yeah,
Neville. He's not
he said they'd push on for the top 4.
It's obvious that that's shite. Anyway.
Short of goals, just 13 in their 12 league games. Defensively, they've been okay. They've conceded 13 as well. I did notice that both teams to score no. 7 of their 12 games have seen a clean sheet at one end or the other. Now, Everton are obviously short of goals as well. So, you know, Man United might not keep many clean sheets, but Everton aren't likely to threaten too much. They've scored just 10 all season. Only Southampton have scored less. But Everton are keeping things tight. They've conceded just 2 goals in the last 6 games now in the league. The unders has hit in 6 in a row, and in 7 of the last 8 for Everton. They've already seen 3 0-0s this season, Everton. You don't get many 0-0s in the Premier League these days. And Everton have got a quarter of their games 0-0 so far. It has to be unders here. I think Everton will struggle to score. But you've got to go back 10 games since the last time anyone scored 2 against Everton. It's a long time for a team who are that far down in the league to not be conceding 2 goals. Under 2.5 goals for me, 11 to 10, plus money price for Man United Everton under 2.5. Just looks the value side of it. So that will be my pick. Man United v Everton under 2.5 goals, 11 to 10.
Exact same pick, Baz, for the exact same reasons. I made my pick on this the second I looked at the game. I saw who it was. I was going down the list. I saw Man United v Everton, and I just picked under 2.5, and that was it. But then I thought I better write some shit down to back it up. But you've done it. I mean, those 3-0-0s, by the way, have all come in the last 6 games. 3-0-0s in the last 6. They've had back-to-back 0-0 draws. They can defend. They can't score. Bob came in from school on Wednesday, had a school match. I said, how'd you get on? He said, we were 1-0 up with 2 minutes left, and they scored a proper Everton goal. And what he meant was they got a corner. He said he got a corner, it bounced around, and some kid stuck out his leg and it went in. So even he knows that they're dog shit. Finished on all, they lost on penalties. But there's no danger in me wanting to back Man United at 1 to 2. I mean, honestly, that's ridiculous. They're averaging 1 goal per game in the last 8. They're not prolific. There shouldn't be anywhere near 1 to 2 against anyone. And the 2 things we know about Everton are they can't score, but they can defend. And then the final nail in the coffin is the price. It's 11 to 10. If it was 4 to 6 or something, you might have to sniff around somewhere else. But nah, that'll do me. Under 2.5 goals, bars 11 to 10, plus 110. Next up, the third 1:30 kickoff on Sunday is Tottenham Hotspur against Fulham. Tottenham 4 to 6, minus 150. The draw 7 to 2. Plus 350. Fulham are Burlington Birdie, 100 to 30, plus 333. Tottenham in action against Roma as we speak. 1-1, I believe, after around about half an hour in London. Tottenham are just ridiculous. The last 6 games, they blew a 2-0 lead at Brighton and lost 3-2. They then smashed West Ham 4-1. Lost at Crystal Palace 1-0. Smashed Villa 4-1. Lost at home to Ipswich, smashed City 4-0. What are you meant to do with that? The only discernible pattern is over 2.5 goals. It's hitting 7 of 8. They are averaging 2.25 goals per game at home, so quite prolific there. The Vicario's injured. The Tottenham fans on our timeline seem to think that that's a big deal. I'm not sure. It's a big deal. He's like the... one of those balloon people who they have outside car showrooms. That's all I get from him. Every time a set piece comes in, looks like he's trying to sell a mini metro. Like, Baz just came back in time to see the arms going there. Well, are you checking on your turkey leg, Baz?
I knew what you mean though as soon as you mentioned the inflatable thing outside.
I think it's because he's just a big, tall drink of water anyway. But the set piece, this is just him flapping about in the breeze. So, Fulham got spanked last week against Wolves. They are reliable for scoring and conceding at home. But, and this was counterintuitive as well, away from home, Baz, 5 of their games have gone under 2.5. So that kind of offsets any confidence you had in Tottenham. And I've done this, I think I've done this 3 weeks running with Tottenham now, because they're impossible, and I mean this, impossible, you've got to go into the props, because I'm not picking a side. It's stupid. Fair enough. You can laugh, Baz, but I'm not doing it. And I might have stole your ladder here, because I know you've liked corners for both of these teams this week. Spurs are second corners on the season. They've had 105 in their 11 games, so just slightly under 10. Like for Tottenham, not combined. Fulham are mid-table, but they're still averaging around about 6.5 corners per game. The line is 11. We can get over that, Baz. It might be a bit of a cop-out, but I'm not fucking handicapping Spurs. It's a thankless task. Over 11 corners is 5 to 6, minus 120.
Well, funnily enough, that would possibly be my pick for this game. Apart from the fact I thought about this game as being my ladder, as you mentioned, mainly because Spurs have been the team golden boys for corners this year. It was Fulham last year. Hit a few ladders with Fulham. But then I got to the end and I ended up pivoting. I've went elsewhere for my ladder. So really, had I not had that in my mind, I'd have probably done something similar. So I think the 12 is an easy line to hit. So I don't mind that at all. It's hard to know where you go with Spurs. This is Spurs' last 7 games in the league. They beat Man United 3-0. They lost to Brighton. They beat West Ham 4-1. Lost to Palace.
I did list these, Baz, while you were checking your turkey, by the way.
Well, I'll not bother anymore then. But obviously beat Man City. So the next one is in that pattern is obviously a loss to Fulham. But the thing that stood out is when they win well, score 3, 4, 4, 4. So four times this season, I think they've scored 4 goals, and 3 on 2 occasions. So they won 6 games, scored 22 goals in those 6 wins, and the defeats have all been close. Single goal in all 5 of the defeats they've had. I think Spurs will book the trend here. I think Spurs will book the old win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. And if I'm right, then it's going to be goals again. And it helps me that Fulham conceded 4 last week to Wolves. They conceded 3 or more in 3 of the last 6 games as well. Villa and City both put 3 past Fulham. I'm going for Spurs team total here, Malcolm. I'm going for Spurs to carry on where they left off last week and get a few goals. Spurs over 2.5 goals at 6-4.
Okay, Barry likes a little bit of Tottenham. Finally, 4 o'clock on Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern time is the game of the week, possibly the game of the season, certainly the biggest game of the season so far since the Man City Arsenal game that was much anticipated earlier in the year. Liverpool take on Manchester City. Liverpool 11-10 favourites plus 110. The draw 13-5 plus 260. Manchester City as underdogs, Barry, for the first time in 287 Premier League games, are 23-10 plus 230. Bars, what have you got?
Well, I didn't like it, to be honest with you.
Bars, I fucking loved it, just by the way. Loved it.
For what reason, though? Because you could come into this just thinking there's only one winner here. You've got one team who are unbeaten in 8, 7 wins and a draw. They're at home against a team who haven't won in 6, who have conceded 17 goals in 6 games.
Keep talking, Baz. This is my note you're reading out loud here.
And you've got Liverpool at plus money. It just looks generous. And City haven't got great form at Anfield either. They've not won there since 2021. So the last 3 seasons now. Massive implications this game, I think. If City lose this one, fall 11 points behind, I think even they would struggle to overturn that this season. I looked at the head-to-head record. 10 of the last 11 games between these two sides have seen both teams to score. Both teams to score is usually good in City games. As we know, they can't keep a clean sheet. And Spurs were the first team domestically to stop them scoring in a long time. Both teams to score is also hit in 4 of the last 5 games for Liverpool. I think, realistically, Liverpool should be the pick on the form. 11-10 is a very good price. I think City will get on the score sheet. So I think Liverpool winning would have to get a couple. So for the 3rd time, I've ended up going for the both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. Because I think both teams will score. I think Liverpool might well nick it. But would it be a massive shock to the system if Man City went and nicked it 2-1? No. So I'm going to keep that on my side just in case. City can't keep losing forever. I'd rather take the goals and just enjoy whatever goals come at whatever end. I say enjoy it. I don't enjoy anybody else doing anything, do I? Let's be honest. Yeah, the pick for me. Both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at 4-5.
Liverpool were outstanding against Madrid. No holes to be picked in them at all. Me and Bob sat here actually and were quite magnanimous about they just look rock solid at the back. The midfielders all look great, even the likes of Curtis Jones and people, Gravenberch, people who weren't in there last year. And they've got, we've got one forward in Isak who we think's the absolute dog's bollocks. They've got about 5 of a similar standard. It's ridiculous. It's all over the place, quality like. 8 points clear at the minute, can make it 11 here. Home record, 1-5, lost 1. They had that blip against Nottingham Forest. But again, they've backed it up in the Champions League. Like they haven't done anything in the Champions League. There's nothing that makes you think that's a little bit fraudulent, that's a bit dodgy, like we do with Arsenal sometimes. There's nothing fluky about what you've done. If you wanted to pick a hole, you can point at the 2 goals conceded against Southampton last week. But this is a competitive league, and that can happen to absolutely anybody. Man City conceded another 7 this week. They looked like they'd finally broke the run at 9:20 on Tuesday, and by 9:45, they'd completely fucked it, hadn't they? Everything wants me to pick Liverpool here, Baz. Liverpool's form, Liverpool's players, Liverpool's stats. City's form, City's players, City's stats. City haven't won at Anfield with fans in the stadium since 2003, Barry. 2003. They've got a COVID win when there was no one there. Last time they won in front of anyone was 21 years ago. But mostly why I want to back Liverpool is the price. I think it's a madness. 11-10 plus 110 for Liverpool. At full time, well, you're going to be thinking, wow, why didn't I just pick that? At 6:10 on Sunday, this is going to be obvious. But it's obvious to me now. So I'll take Liverpool Baz. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's 10 games in the book. Solid 56 minutes on the clock, Baz, giving us 3 minutes to get our exotics out. Where do you want to start? Who do you want to start?
Let's start with the locks. I have got, probably come as no surprise, but one I absolutely loved was Wolves to score 2 or more goals at 6-5 will be my lock for this week.
My lock, I've just told you. It's obvious. Liverpool, thank you. I wanted to put that in just to stress how little I'm pissing around with this game. Just back them.
My underdog for this week, surprise, surprise, it's Wolves again at 15-8.
I'm going with Ipswich, Baz, at 4-1 against Nottingham Forest. I love this. I'm all over this. Like I said, got a bit of a crush on Ipswich currently.
And my scorer, sticking with the theme, I've gone for Cunha. He's banging form. 15-8 anytime scorer for Cunha. 6-1 first goal. 7 goals in the season so far, and 4 in his last 4. Cunha will be my pick. So sticking with the Wolves game once again.
Considered him, Baz, because I wanted to go with a player in form, but I also wanted to go for a little Friday night pick to give us everything, to give everyone something to cheer on Friday night, which is the Brighton Southampton game. And the player in form is João Pedro for Brighton. He looks really good. Southampton aren't particularly keen on defending. João Pedro is 4-1 first and last, 11-10 plus 110 anytime goal scorer.
So then kicking off the Accas with the corned beef pie Acca to start off with. I'm going to go with an over 2.5 goals. Going for over 2.5 goals in Brentford v Leicester, Forest v Ipswich, and Wolves v Bournemouth. Over 2.5 goals in those 3 games comes in at 4-1. Do you want me to go straight into my...
I've nearly got the exact same pick, Baz. I've got both teams to score rather than over 2.5 in Brentford v Leicester, Wolves v Bournemouth, but I think Tottenham v Fulham. I don't think they can keep a clean sheet, so slightly different. That's 27-10 plus 270, Baz. What's your stake in Stilton?
Stake in Stilton. I've gone for another underdog treble. You might remember my underdog treble missed by a goal last week, 45-1. So I've gone for another one, very similar. I've gone for Ipswich to beat Forest, who you've got. I've got Wolves to beat Bournemouth. And the last one you won't like at all. It's Man City to beat Liverpool. Because Man City can beat Liverpool. Absolutely. So 3 underdogs that have got live chances. 45-1 again. Ipswich, Wolves, and City all to win. 45-1.
Well, Barry, you know, in Countdown, if you've got the same words and you have to show your bit of paper to the bloke sitting next to you, my underdog treble, I'll screenshot this and I'll send it across to you, Baz, in a bit. I've got an underdog treble, Barry. I've got Ipswich, I've got Wolves, and I've got Leicester. So that's 65-1. But I'm going to play the round robin. I want to play the round robin on those because if I don't want to lose by a goal last week. So Leicester, Ipswich, and Wolves, the doubles pay around about 25-1 each, and then the 3-timer pays 65-1. The other nice thing about mine, Baz, is that they're all the 3 p.m. kickoffs, so you can have a proper old-fashioned 3 p.m. frenzy. You can get the Acca freeze on. That's another good shout on the Saturday afternoon as well.
Yeah.
Because one of them is going to hit the front. But Ipswich or Leicester will take the lead, get that frozen, and we'll cash that. So yeah, underdogs all round. I like that, Baz. Bazza's ladders, the final thing.
Finish off with the ladder. So yeah, I was looking at the Fulham Spurs game for corners. I've ended up pivoting. I've gone back to the shots market. I've gone back into Semenyo for Bournemouth. He's hit at least 4 shots in 4 of his last 5 games, and 6 of his last 8 games he's hit at least 4 as well. He's hit 5 in each of his last 2 games. He's averaging 4.5 per game. There's only Haaland had more shots on goal this season than Semenyo. So you're starting off at over 3.5. Over 3.5 Semenyo shots. So these aren't shots on target, just shots on goal. 11-10 for over 3.5. 5-2 for over 4.5. 5-1 for over 5.5. He hasn't hit 7 yet this season, but he might do here. Over 6.5 at 10-1. I like the first 2 steps of that in particular. But yeah, Casta Semenyo shot. It is. Is it Casta Semenyo? I'm thinking of that runner, aren't I? What's Semenyo's name?
You're thinking of that woman with the cock and balls who won the 800 metres all those times. Antoine Semenyo.
Antoine, yeah. So I'm thinking of the Zimbabwean who has both genitalia.
Well, she's Zimbabwean. You've just misgendered her. So if you could not racially get that wrong as well, Baz. Baz is getting himself cancelled. He's doing the full Greg Wallace.
I think she was South Africa, if anything. But there we go. Anyway, Lee Smith says that's his brother.
It's a minefield, Baz, isn't it? Oh, it's a minefield.
I'm saying nothing more. Anyway, Antoine Semenyo is going to hit the shots over 3.5 and upwards. Get up the ladder.
I gave him out last week to have a shot on target in each half, and I don't know if that's happened or not. So I'll just say it did. Hey, so that was good. 9-2. I've just imagined that as a winner. It's easy, isn't it, this game? Well, I think that's it, Baz. Nothing else to report. Bob is itching to get some turkey leg down him. So I'll go and slice him off a third of my turkey leg. Anything you want to report before we let the people go?
No, that's all. Let's get stuck into it. Friday night football back. That's good. And yeah, tons and tons of football to get stuck into over the next week.
Man United have equalised. That's slightly disappointing. 2-2 at half time there. Right, okay. Thanks, everyone. We apologise for pissing around with the time. 1 week we'll endeavour to arrive at the time we said we were going to. So that'll be exciting. But we appreciate everyone getting involved. Big weekend. And then midweek as well. So we'll have to do this maybe on Sunday night or something, Baz, if we can. Yeah. We'll try and get stuck into it. Good luck, everybody, at the weekend. Until then, we'll see you all down the road. Cheers.